welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are talking about the read-through cache pattern, a powerful approach to automatically fetch and cache missing data from the underlying data source. Let's dive in and see how it works and when you might want to use it. So, as always, we answer the what question. So, what is read-through cache? A read-through cache is a caching strategy where your application always interacts with the cache when it needs data. If the data isn't in the cache automatically fetches it from the source, like a database, then stores it. The next time the application asks for the data or this data, it's already in the cache. Okay, how this work? Okay, we have like a small diagram that talks about how it works. So your application will try to read the data, like let's say a user profile. First, we try to see if we check the cache. The cache checks if the data user profile exists in the memory or in the cache store. If the actual data is available in the cache, it's called a cache hit, and the data will be served and read from the cache, and it will be returned directly to the application. But what should we do if the data is not there? If the data is not there, we call this cache miss. If the data are not found, the read-through cache layer fetches the data from the database. After that, we have the update the cache. The data is cached, like when the data is not there, the cache will read the data from the database, and the database this data will be stored in the cache for future use, and it will be returned to the application. So the data is cached for future requests. Like if we have a cache miss, if the data is not found, the read-through cache layer fetches the data from the actual database, and the data is cached for future requests in the actual cache. And after that, we return the data. The application received the fresh data. The application never needs to directly query the database. It only ever asks the cache. If the data is not there, the cache system handles fetching it behind the scene. Okay, what are the benefits from... Oh, this is not a good F. From this strategy? There are three things. First, transparency. Like the application code is simpler. It is just queries the cache. It just queries the cache without worrying about misses. Number two, automatic population. Like the cache automatically updates itself. Developers don't have to manually load data into the cache. Number three, we have consistent data access path. Like you can enforce caching logic in one place rather than scattering it throughout your application code. Okay, but what are the drawbacks? Oh, drawbacks. Or what are the trade-offs? What are the cons? What are the problems with the read-through cache strategy? Okay. I would say first cache miss. We might have some cache miss penalties. Like the first request after a miss might be slower because the cache has to fetch from database, as we talked about in the example. Also, we might find a complex cache layer because implementing read-through cache logic can be more complex if your caching solution doesn't support it natively. Number three is stale data. If you rely heavily on caching, you need a solid invalidation or expiration strategy, or the data might become stale over time. Okay, what are the use cases for a read-through cache strategy? So in your system design interviews, if your interviewer asks you about what cache strategy you'll use, you need to know what are the systems that needs this. The first thing, it will be high traffic applications, like because it minimizes direct database calls for frequently accessed data. Number two, microservices. Like services can always query the cache instead of knowing about the underlying data source. Three, large datasets. Like if you only read a subset of the data often, read through cache ensures you don't load everything into cache at once, only what's actually needed. In any system where read performance and simplicity are top priorities, read through cache can be a great fit. Um, we can make a comparison between write through cache or write behind cache, but I guess the video will be more complicated than it is. So we might go through some best practices, but I guess the best practice would be something quite generic that I would say for every cache strategy videos we're creating, but we have to talk about them anyway. So the best practices are First, regarding the expiration policy, like decide how long data should live in the cache. Like you can use time to live, which is TTL settings wisely. Number two, stale while revalidate. Like consider letting the cache return an older version of the data temporarily while it updates the data in the background. Number three, you need to monitor cache hits and miss as well. Like keep track of hit rates and miss rates to understand whether the cache is effective. Number four, scalability. If your user base grows, ensure your read through caching solution can handle high throughput. Okay, so let's wrap up and go to our solution conclusion. Sorry. So that's the rundown on read through caching. By letting the cache handle data fetching behind the scene, you keep your application logic clean while boosting performance. Just be mindful of your expiration strategies and monitor how it impacts your database loads. Thanks for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like it, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any video. And see you guys in future videos.